What if the reason your life feels chaotic has nothing to do with luck, discipline, or intelligence, but everything to do with the fact that you were never shown the blueprint you were living inside? Around the year 1200, in a quiet corner of southern France, a small circle of scholars made a discovery so disruptive that it was locked away for nearly 8 centuries. Not because it was false, but because it was too accurate. They weren't reading sacred texts for comfort or morality. They were decoding reality itself. And what they found wasn't poetry. It wasn't a metaphor. It was architecture. Most people imagine ancient mystics as dreamers, just robed figures lost in abstraction. That image is completely wrong. The first architects of this system approached consciousness the way modern physicists approached quantum fields, with precision, discipline, and a ruthless kind of logic. Instead of asking, "What should we believe?" they asked a far more dangerous question. How does reality actually come into existence? Their conclusion was unsettling. Reality is not something that merely happens to you. It's something that unfolds through structured layers of consciousness. And the human mind isn't outside this structure. It mirrors it perfectly. These thinkers treated awareness itself as an instrument. They trained their attention the way a scientist calibrates a piece of high-tech equipment, slowly, methodically, over decades. Through this disciplined observation, they noticed something absolutely astonishing. The same patterns appeared everywhere, in atoms and in galaxies, in civilizations rising and collapsing, in the way ideas are born, mature, and eventually die, and most importantly, in how a human personality forms, stabilizes, and sometimes fractures. This wasn't just symbolism or a nice thought. It was recursion. Reality was repeating itself across all scales, from the infinitely small to the infinitely large. This understanding was then systematized in an early text, often described as a book of formation. But this wasn't a moral guide, and it wasn't a religious narrative. It was a manual of construction, a blueprint. But here is the critical detail that most people miss. The elements described in this book were not fire, air, or water. They were the elements of consciousness itself, the irreducible building blocks of our experience. Think of it like source code, but written not just in numbers, but in structured awareness. And once you realize that, you begin to understand why this knowledge was guarded so fiercely for so long. Because it doesn't just explain the universe, it explains you. So why was it kept secret? Well, this system doesn't offer easy comfort. In fact, it does the opposite. It removes all your excuses. If consciousness follows specific laws, and those laws can be known, then the chaos in your life is no longer random. Your suffering is no longer a complete mystery, and repeating the same mistakes over and over again becomes optional. That level of personal responsibility is incredibly destabilizing. It's terrifying for most people. And that's exactly why, for generations, this knowledge was only passed down to those who were deemed psychologically mature enough to survive it. Because once you see the structure, you can't unsee it, and it changes everything. Have you ever noticed that people don't really reveal themselves by what they say? No, what truly exposes someone is what they say when nobody responds. Silence, my friends, has this incredible power to turn a conversation into a psychological mirror. When you're silent, you're not just being quiet. You're holding up a mirror to the other person and what they see in that reflection. What they project onto it tells you everything you need to know about them. Think about it. When someone makes a statement, especially a bold or emotional one, and all they get back is stillness, their mind goes into overdrive. They start questioning everything. Did I say too much? Was that a mistake? Are they judging me? Do they see something I don't? Their internal monologue becomes a frantic search for meaning in your lack of response. Psychological studies have shown something fascinating about these moments. In confrontational situations, silence isn't perceived as weakness or uncertainty. It's often interpreted as a sign of authority, judgment, or deep thought. The person who just spoke starts to feel the weight of their own words. They begin to doubt themselves, to second-guess their position. That quiet space you create becomes a vacuum, and they rush to fill it, often with their own insecurities and assumptions. By saying nothing, you force them to confront their own mind. It's a powerful technique because you're not attacking their argument. You're letting their own psychology do the work. The silence becomes a canvas, and they paint a perfect picture of their inner state right onto it for you to see. Now, let's talk about manipulation. Manipulation is a game that absolutely depends on a reaction. It needs you to get defensive, to justify yourself, to get emotional. When you remove that reaction, the entire structure of manipulation just collapses. Imagine someone makes a passive-aggressive comment. You know the kind, those little subtle jabs designed to make you feel guilty or provoke you into explaining yourself. Their entire goal is to get you engaged, to pull you into their drama. But what happens if you just meet that jab with complete silence? You just look at them, maybe with a neutral expression, and say nothing. The air grows thick. They were expecting a reaction, a fight, a justification. When they don't get it, they're left standing there, their manipulative tactic exposed and powerless. They've lost control of the narrative because you refused to play their game. Without your feedback, the manipulator is disarmed. They're forced to either double down and look foolish, or retreat. Either way, you've won by simply refusing to participate. This brings me to a crucial point about what silence really is. True, powerful silence isn't about disengaging or zoning out. It's the opposite. It is active observation. So often in conversations, we're not truly listening. We're just waiting for our turn to speak. We're formulating our rebuttal, our witty comeback, our next point. But when you make a conscious decision to be silent, to just listen without planning your response, your perception sharpens dramatically. You start to notice the little things. You hear the contradictions in their story. You see the emotional leaks in their carefully constructed facade, a flicker of fear in their eyes, a tremor in their voice. You notice when they start justifying things that don't need justification, a classic sign of insecurity. Their tone of voice, their body language, it all becomes a rich source of data. This is precisely why skilled interrogators, top-tier negotiators, and seasoned investigators speak so much less than the people they're talking to. They understand that while others are busy giving information away, they are quietly gathering it. They let the other person do the talking, and in doing so, they learn everything they need to know. Let's apply this to a real-world scenario: negotiation. In any negotiation, silence after you've made your offer is one of the strongest positions you can possibly take. Let's say you're negotiating a salary or the price of a car. You state your number clearly and confidently, and then you stop talking. This is where most people sabotage themselves. The silence feels uncomfortable, so they rush to fill it. They start They soften their requests. Well, I know that's a high number, but... Or they start justifying their value, listing all the reasons they deserve it. They try to reduce the tension, but in doing so, they weaken their own position. The person who can remain silent, who can allow that discomfort to hang in the air, lets that tension work in their favor. The other party starts to feel the pressure. They start thinking, is my counter-offer too low? Is their offer actually reasonable? Research consistently shows that in a negotiation, the party who can tolerate the silence longer almost always achieves a better outcome. They create pressure without saying a single word. That silence communicates confidence. It says, "This is my offer. I stand by it." The next move is yours. It is an incredibly powerful tool for getting what you want. But here's the most important distinction we need to make. This kind of powerful silence is not about withdrawal or retreat. It's about analysis. It's only powerful when it's intentional. You are not being passive. You are actively collecting data. You are observing, processing, and analyzing everything that is happening in front of you. You are giving the other person the space to reveal themselves, and you are paying close attention to what they reveal. This data, this rich information you gather during your silence, is what allows you to respond later, panned. When you do finally speak, your response will be precise, minimal, and incredibly effective. You won't be reacting emotionally. You'll be acting strategically, based on the information you've gathered. You'll be able to address the core of the issue, not just the surface-level words. You can cut through the noise and speak to the real, unspoken concerns. So, the next time you find yourself in a difficult conversation, a negotiation, or even just a casual chat, I challenge you to try it. Embrace the silence. Don't rush to fill it. Use it as your mirror, your data-gathering tool. Watch what happens. You'll be amazed at what people show you when you simply give them the quiet space to do so. This practice of intentional silence transforms how you interact with the world. It's not just a tactic for difficult situations. It becomes a way of being. You become a better listener, not just to others, but to yourself. When you quiet the impulse to immediately respond, you give yourself a moment to check in with your own thoughts and feelings. You can ask yourself, why do I feel the need to say this? Is it helpful? Is it true? Is it necessary? This internal pause can save you from saying things you later regret and helps you communicate with more purpose and integrity. It fosters a sense of calm and centeredness, even in high-pressure environments. People will start to see you as more thoughtful, more confident, and more trustworthy, because your words, when they do come, will carry more weight. They will be backed by observation and insight, not just impulse. Think of it as a conversational superpower that is available to all of us at any time. All it costs is a little bit of patience and the willingness to be comfortable with the quiet. It's a skill that will serve you in your career, in your relationships, and in your own personal growth. By mastering silence, you master not only your interactions with others, but also your own mind. Thank you so much for watching. If this idea resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your own experiences with the power of silence. And if you want more content on psychology and communication, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Not all silence is strength. Sometimes silence protects you. Other times it erases you. The real difference isn't what you do, but why you do it. Let's explore the crucial distinction between strategic silence and fearful silence, and how you can master silence as a tool for power, not a symptom of fear. Silence becomes destructive when it's driven by fear. Fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of being truly seen. Think about it in relationships or at work. When you stay quiet because you're afraid, you're not choosing control. You're telling yourself that your voice doesn't matter. This fear-based silence slowly dissolves your boundaries, erodes your self-respect, and lets others define your reality. Over time, this leads to deep resentment, chronic stress, and a painful loss of your own identity. It's like holding your breath underwater. Eventually, you have to come up for air, and often that looks like an explosion of frustration. Studies on conflict avoidance confirm this. They show that chronically suppressing your thoughts and feelings dramatically increases psychological strain and tanks your long-term satisfaction in relationships and careers. You think you're keeping the peace, but you're actually declaring war on yourself. So, how do you know if your silence is a weapon or a wound? It comes down to a simple self-test. After you've held back from speaking, check in with yourself. How do you feel? Grounded and in control, or anxious and buzzing with unsaid words? Do you feel clear and centered, or diminished and small? The most important question is this: did I choose silence, or did I freeze? Powerful, strategic silence leaves you feeling calm and composed. You made a conscious choice. Fearful silence, on the other hand, leaves a residue of tension, regret, and internal chaos. Your body knows the difference, even if your mind tries to rationalize it. Pay attention to that feeling. It's your internal compass guiding you toward empowerment or away from it. The good news is that silence is a skill, not a fixed personality trait. You can train it just like any other muscle. You don't have to start with high-stakes confrontations. Begin in low-risk situations. Maybe it's a meeting where you usually over-explain yourself, or a conversation with a friend where you feel that compulsive urge to fill every single pause. Maybe it's a moment at home where your habitual reaction is to immediately jump in and fix something. In those moments, I want you to try something different. Just pause, take a deep breath, and observe. Observe the situation. Observe the other person. And most importantly, observe your own impulse to speak. Let the other person make the next move. See what happens when you simply create space. This practice isn't about being passive. It's about becoming an active observer of dynamics, which is the first step to mastering them. Remember, communication is not primarily verbal. Your presence often speaks far louder than your words. Think about the most confident people you know. It's not always about what they say. It's their posture, their steady eye contact, their stillness, the rhythm of their breathing. These non-verbal signals carry an incredible amount of authority and weight, long before a single word is spoken. In fact, research on nonverbal communication has shown for decades that our physical presence accounts for a huge majority of how others perceive our confidence and credibility. You don't need to dominate the conversation to command a room. Sometimes, the most powerful person is the one who is most comfortable in their own stillness, listening and observing, while others rush to fill the void. Your quiet confidence can be more intimidating and influential than the loudest voice. This all leads to the final and most important principle. Speak less, but mean more. The goal of strategic silence isn't to say nothing forever. It's about being so intentional that you only speak when it truly matters. When your words finally come after a thoughtful silence, they land with incredible weight. They don't have to compete for attention because they command it. They are heard because they are rare, precise, and purposeful. The most effective leaders, negotiators, and communicators aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who talk later, say less, and choose their words with surgical precision. They let the noise settle, gather their thoughts, and then deliver the one sentence that changes the entire conversation. So, start practicing this today. Notice the moments where you speak out of habit, anxiety, or a need for validation. And in one of those moments, choose silence instead. Feel the power in that choice. Silence is not the absence of power. It is power that has learned how to wait. If you're still here, still watching my videos, I just want to say something simple. Thank you. In this world of endless noise and constant distractions, the fact that you choose to spend your time here with me means more than you can possibly imagine. It means you're one of those rare people who wants to go deeper, who wants to question things, and who looks for answers inside yourself, not just on the surface. I am honestly so happy that there are people like you who share these interests, these questions, and this search for meaning. So, if you feel like this space resonates with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share this video with someone you know who might need it. Your support helps this content reach more people who are also quietly searching. Thank you for being here, really.